We live, baby.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the podcast. We're excited to have you guys back. We're excited to be back. Excited to express our feelings and emotions to you guys. The new topic today.
Well, topic is sent in by someone previously. You know, she's persistent. I like it. It's sent in by Hashirama, hashtag 3450. You know, that name might sound familiar, but she asks today, what does it mean when someone consistently does something you've expressed discomfort for? And I can answer that. Well, what that means is that person probably doesn't understand or have the mental maturity to understand the magnitude in which your discomfort, you know what I mean, how uncomfortable you are with it. You know, they probably don't understand that. It probably has never crossed their mind. They're just not getting it. Or two, they just don't care. You know, that you found discomfort in that. They just don't care.
No, more specifically, they don't care about how you feel about that certain topic. Like, they just don't care about how you feel about it and how it affects you and how it bothers you, which translated into what he said before. Why it's something that bothers you. They don't care about the why because they just don't understand. So either you can help them understand or attempt to help them understand if it's somebody that you think would be able to understand at some point if you help them, or
absolutely right. You know, either you have the mental capacity to fix it, the mental maturity to be able to move forward, or they just don't care about it. But I doubt that they don't care, because whoever it is, they're in your life for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, they probably care. You know, likely they do. They care about you enough to be around you, enough to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. You know, they probably do many other things that doesn't make you uncomfortable. You know, but that one thing they're having trouble adjusting to. Some people have problems adjusting. You know, it takes a little bit more for them to understand. Sometimes you have to do things. Sometimes you have to go through what it is that's making the other person uncomfortable in order to understand that you're making them uncomfortable, if that makes sense. It has to happen to you, and then now you understand why you shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was going to say another thing you can do is bring up the fact that you've brought it up several times to them and nothing has still changed. Because sometimes having that, if you bring up the same thing a bunch of times, sometimes people just kind of go through one ear and come out the other. Yeah. But what you could do, instead of, sit down and have a conversation, hey, look, I've brought this up to you multiple times and I told you how I feel about it, and still nothing has changed. And you can confront them with, hey, look, what's up? What's going on? Do you not care? Do you not understand? Like, so, you don't have to be that forward, but you can easily, if you know this person well enough, you could approach them in a way that is, good for everybody, on a calm level, and approach them, just be straight up, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Talk to me, like, what's up? Is it something that you just don't care, or, you don't know about it, or maybe even give them a background as to why it bothers you. You know what I'm saying? And that way they have a better understanding and a larger reason to not do that, because it is causing you such a great level of discomfort. You know what I'm saying? So that could be another way to approach it. That's how I would approach it. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, all right, you know what, this isn't working. I kind of have to have a little sit down real quick. Some real quick, doesn't need to be, super duper long, but definitely bring to their attention that they still haven't changed it even after you brought it to their attention, because sometimes that's a wake up call for some people.
And also sometimes they could be doing something that they feel is within their rights. You know what I'm saying? And you feel that it's not within their rights to be doing what's making you uncomfortable. You know, it varies, but for instance, if it's a situation where you're talking to a person, you're in a little talking phase with them or something, and they're doing something that they've always been doing previously before talking to you, and they have no commitments to you, and one of those things that they're doing makes you uncomfortable, then they'll probably feel like they have the right of way because I'm not committed to you. I've been doing this, and then you want me to change for you for someone that I haven't committed to. You know what I mean? And I don't know, what if I change this and then, we stop talking and then there's something about me that I've changed that I necessarily didn't have problems with before.
Mm-hmm.
Or I didn't feel uncomfortable with, or I didn't make anyone else feel uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
So that could also be a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It depends.
Another thing, which is unfortunate, but it could also be a possibility, is the fact that they're doing it on purpose to bother you. And then you have a deeper problem, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's somebody literally choosing to bother you or uproot your peace of mind because it's something that they just want to do to mess with you. And then there are people out there that do that. They just don't care. You know what I'm saying? All right, you know what? Yeah. So you did this a certain long time ago, or I just don't care about how you feel. I'm going to do it anyway.
Pulling your chain.
Exactly. So then you kind of have to look at that and be like, all right, you know what? Is this one of those situations? Another thing I was going to say is it depends on whatever is being done, like whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's something that's up here and something that's down here. You know, because if it's something that's down here, the chances are it's going to be temporary. It's something that they kind of have to get over. Like leaving their shoes in the middle of the room every time you come home. And you trip over it in the middle of the night. It's a little bit of conditioning, but it's fixable. Or it's something like, all right, every time your partner goes out, they talk to somebody of the opposite sex, and it usually goes on for a very long time. And it gets very deep, and they start hanging out with this person. But it's continuous. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I mean? There's levels to it, right? So you kind of have to look at the situation. All right, is this one of the things that's down here, in the middle, or up here? And then you kind of have to allot a certain amount of energy to handle each one of those. You know what I'm saying? But up here, those are more pressing things. Those are things that are larger in magnitude that should probably be handled sooner rather than later. You know, so that way it doesn't breed into something else. Because usually something up here has a higher chance of ending a relationship or causing a break in a relationship because it's something that can stall communication or the transfer of feelings and emotions is blocked by something, and that could be up there. So you kind of have to look at that too.
Yeah. Or sometimes something that you find discomfort in is sometimes not that big of a deal. You know, not to disregard your feelings about it, but you have to come to terms sometimes that, okay, this is a compromise. You know, this thing that this person does makes me uncomfortable. You know, whether it's your girlfriend or boyfriend or friend, family member, cousin, whatever it may be. If they're doing something that makes you uncomfortable, you have to know how to move around certain people. You know, I learned in football, when I was playing football, I didn't really like football anymore at this point. But I was learning how to cope and cooperate or, just maintain a steady team composition with people that I didn't really even like. You know, I never disliked them, but they really didn't like me. So, of course, I didn't, peace be upon them now. But then I didn't really care to be around them as much. But I had to learn to get along with those people. I had to know, my coach taught me something. I said, what do I do if I have trouble with some people on the team? We just don't get along well, but we're on the same team here. And he says, you have to know your player's character. Know your team's character. So what that means is everyone has their own energy, and you should interact with their energy in a particular way. So basically what he said was know how to deal with them separately. You can't treat him like you treat everyone else, or you can't treat him like you treat everyone else. Mm-hmm. So the same thing in this situation. You can't treat that person like everyone else in some instances. Sometimes you just have to let things go and compromise. You don't have to be petty and do something that makes them uncomfortable to try to get back at them or something like that, because that's child's play.
Immature.
Yeah, that's immature. So sometimes you just have to compromise and be like, okay, this is something small that I can definitely get over. It's not always on the other person. Sometimes you got to look inward.
That's probably the more straightforward answer. I agree with that a lot. You just kind of have to know how to handle certain people in your life, especially if it's someone that you want to hang on to, you know what I'm saying, someone that you care about. But, you you can't say or do certain things around them because then this happens, and then you're just asking for it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely be able to understand and be able to move around certain people in a certain way that's congenial for everybody. All right.
Pretty much.
That's it.
So that'll kind of do it for this video. I hope we answered your question well.
Yeah, me too.
And I hope this video has found you well.
Yes.
So with that being said, that's been What Did I Do for this episode. We'll be around. Send in some more questions. We'll talk. We'll chat, as usual.
Absolutely.
Let's get deep, bro.
Send it in. All right, y'all. See you in the next one.